Business analytics is critical to the effective operations of organizations and companies in Nigeria. Dr. Nicholas Allo, Director of Strategy, Visual Earth UK, gives further insight on this through this video presentation.
We look through this. The critical thing that comes to mind is the fact that analytics is supposed to be an ongoing process, which is where we seem to always miss the point. If we look at the schema to the left, we need to look through value, demand, capital, and processes. And if we see, it's a closed loop. So whichever way we look at it, we need to go round through that circle, and at every point in time, we need to review what the requirements are, look at the situation, look at the outputs, look at the action, and then we take informed decisions. That's what analytics typically should help businesses and individuals to come round to. We've used sample data based on the previous slide where we talked about specific industries. We've looked at finance, we've looked at telecoms, we've looked at beverages, healthcare, energy. These are just sample data. Let me take finance for an example now. From a demand point of view, we're talking of accessibility of affordable financial services and products for both individuals and corporates. That's actually what we would all desire from an analytics point of view. From a capital point of view, we need to begin to look at capital base for businesses, interest-based rates. For those of us who have applied for loans, either for personal purposes or for business purposes, you can find out some people say they get loans at 40%, 30%, etc. You know, monetary policies at play and market demand. From a process point of view, we would look at technology adoption and service marketing. What we tend to do most often than not is even before we apply analytics, people are already thinking of, oh, go and implement Oracle, go and implement SAP, without even thinking of what the business requirements are. And then from a value point of view, what kind of value do we sell to customers? Using finance as an example, we're looking at electronic banking, customer relationships, and branchless banking. These are actually supposed to ease our way of working and ease the customer's life, essentially. Nigeria and its strengths and the future of analytics. If we look at Nigeria, one key point we keep missing is we don't actually focus on the real data or on the real individuals. If we look at Nigeria for an example, this is the map of Nigeria, which we all know. There are 36 states, one capital territory. The key important fact, which is the key selling point for Nigeria, is the fact that we are a country of 160 million individuals. That's something we all keep forgetting. People look at states, capitals, federal capital territory, etc. But the key important figure and the key data which you should be reviewing is the fact that we're 160 million Nigerians. That's our major and mega selling point. If we go through that, some other key points is the fact that we have 5 international airports, which are essentially the points of entry and exit into the country. We have about 20 airfields, several airstrips. We have crude oil reserves. My personal opinion is it's not taking us anywhere. Maybe we need to look away from that. It's on the contrary, I think it's actually a problem. That 37.14 billion barrels of oil that are as crude reserves. People tend to go through demand, capital processes, and then we don't pay particular attention to value. The key concern and the key challenge for us is the fact that focus on value is driven by organizational gains from a population of 160 million individuals. So the CEOs, the board of directors, etc., everybody just wants to see what's coming to the company. Nobody is actually thinking of those 160 million Nigerians. Value for money strategies rely solely on transaction volumes and less on relational opportunities. So we're not looking at individuals. We're not seeing how a firm relates to its customers. We're not There is no intricate review of that kind of relationship, as well as it costs several more times to find a new customer as opposed to maintaining an existing customer, which is something we all seem to forget. These are the questions which were asked to review. We've taken the question number 6. What do you consider the key ingredients and initiatives for building strong data-driven business organizations in Nigeria? This for me is the key point. If we look through this schema, we go from data structure to technology. The key mistake we make is people just jump into technology. But we believe we need to look at the data structure. What kind of data are you even gathering? Look at that. We need to review it critically. Then we begin to differentiate that data. You can have 20 people living in the kitchen or 20 people staying in the flats, but they all have different income opportunities, etc. So you need to understand the peculiar nature of each of those customers. That's where the differentiation comes in. Then you begin to look at relationships between those particular customers, and then ultimately you can bring a technology framework that can drive through all this. We came up with a citizens and consumer model, which we worked with the University of Edinburgh. But if we look through this citizens and consumer model, we've divided it into 4 quadrants. There's Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. If we look to that, we're talking about customer insights, growth and offerings, communication, investments, as well as communication strategies. These are all interrelated, interwoven. If we look at between Q1 and Q2, you're talking of knowing your customer, which is essentially between your customer insight and then your growth and offerings. If you understand each individual customer, you'll be able to know what to offer them. Let me give a very simple example. We all get these adverts from mobile companies that say, recharge 750 naira and get 1,500 naira. I might actually not need extra call credits. I might want to extend my BlackBerry service by another 2 weeks. So I'm being offered a blanket service without understanding my peculiar needs. That's what knowing your customers will do, which is the quadrant between Q1 and Q2. The next one will be targeted insight, which is essentially tells you about your growth offerings and your investments. If you know the kind of thing you need to sell to people, to individuals, organizations, etc., then you understand what kind of investments you need to make. Do you need to invest in land? Do you need to invest in properties? Do you need to invest in knowledge? Do you need to invest, etc. Then between Q3 and Q4, we're talking about leverage infrastructure. That would also drive what it is you implement, as well as between Q4 and Q1, you talk about the body of knowledge. What kind of body of knowledge do you keep, etc. Based on the citizens and consumer model, which I just talked through, there is running targeted strategies. This is actually a research which we did in Shomolu. I don't think you can see the schema very well, but it talks about the differentiation of customers based on their particular buying strength across Shomolu and based on the way they live. This is actually Shomolu local government. So we're not using some data from the US or America or etc. Then your cross-selling opportunities, you need to talk about what kind of campaign are you putting on, what kind of channel do you use to drive the campaign you're putting on, what is the timing, because it's not just enough to talk about campaigns and channels, you need to time it to suit the individuals. For instance, if you're selling products for most Nigerians in January, we always keep saying January is a dry month, etc. And then you ultimately still keep the customer in mind and you keep on doing that particular review. Then finally, we talk about rewarded loyalty, which is what analytics should really help us to do. I've given that example using the recharge cards. Ultimately, we need to know from a specific point of view what kind of loyalty programs we give to each individual customers we have in our working with us.